Hello everybody, here in Barrie, Ontario. Really beautiful community in town. I love the picturesque waterfront right off the grounds and how this whole downtown core sits just off it. Nice community. I think population 120,000 or so. It was nice. It was a good presentation. A lot of people saying all the same things, and then we got into Maxime Bernier, and he gives a really heartfelt, great speech, and it's the PPC party. However, the platform doesn't address, neither does the speeches, ever, in any real government official that I've ever seen, nobody explains to Canadians their Charter of Rights, their civil rights, that's not even talked about, and how badly they get abused. Why do we have to fight for codified rights constitutionally? They're codified. They're there. That's very simple, and what everybody is failing to address over and over, which always brings me to the same question. Are you part of the problem or part of the solution? And it's always part of the problem. The problem here is, Canadians, you don't have any codification at all, meaning zero constitutions provincially. I've said this a number of times. Anyone can look it up. Zero constitutions where 2/3 of your rights are given to you in the federal constitution, but they're not codified at all in any province, meaning province has full discretion over them. Any premier can take all of your civil rights and administer them any way, shape, or form they want to. There are no codified rules to say otherwise, i.e. you, the people, are not represented for any civil rights. Why that's important. How do you think the government is mandating lockdowns? How do you think they're controlling businesses? Well, they hand out a $100,000 fine to a business and say you will comply absolutely with what we're going to do against charter rights and absolutely against your civil rights. Once you receive a fine like that, once it's registered to you in other areas of civil rights, let's look at your driver's license, let's look at your property rights, let's look at your business registry rights. The list goes on and on. We can go all the way through your firearms. It goes on and on. Most of your rights in this country are provincial under the heading of civil right. The government can take away your Charter of Rights and Freedoms just by administering massive penalties against all of your civil rights, forcing you to give up your Charter of Rights and Freedoms. That's what they do. This is not communism. Everybody keeps saying, oh, we're becoming communist, we're becoming communist. We're not communist, everybody. We're constitutional monarchy. You can go through the only codified constitution you have, the Federal Constitutional Act of Canada. You can go back into that document, and there you will find a section that gives codification on rules of governance. That is Her Majesty, that is your Prime Minister, that goes absolutely in charge of absolutely Governor General, who oversteps all federal courts, has full authority over federal courts. So what does that mean? It means your Prime Minister has full control over all of your federal courts. Then you go down in the other codified crown powers, there's lieutenant governors of every province and every territory, who again have ultimate authority over all provincial courts, even the highest one, supreme. They decide. How do they decide? By absolutely Prime Minister or Premier. That's your governmental system. Those are the rules of governance. So let's look at the codified Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Your courts interpret that as per whoever you've elected as Prime Minister or Premier. The Premiers are in full autocratic authority of all of your civil rights. The Prime Minister is in charge of all your charter rights and freedoms. People talk common law, civil law, natural law, goes on and on. There's all kinds of types of law out there. But who is in charge of administering it? Who has the power? Well, your very autocratic crown colonial power of Prime Minister and Premier. They decide. You elect them to decide for you. This will continue. This will continue. You can cry, you can have the biggest rallies going. Vote somebody else to pick up the crown. Until that somebody else comes forward, absolutely, and says, I am going to codify rules of governance, how to govern for all of the people of Canada in the federal constitution, and I'm going to mandate that all the premiers do too. How do you get that done? The party, the federal party only, must absolutely appoint, like all prime ministers do, a governor general, all lieutenant governors that will bind that will absolutely mandate constitutional design, rules of governance, how to govern in every province in Canada and territory, as well as use the governor general to mandate that no bill can be passed in federal parliament until these dismemberment of our federal crown constitution, get rid of all of the crown powers ruled illegal in this world by all the international powers on this earth. It's supposed to be illegal, but Canadians don't know any better. They sing routinely, "Oh Canada," but that, "Oh Canada," the lyric, is not law. It's a nice, good feeling song, but it's not what's represented in absolute law of our Constitution, which you're all seeing. You call them dictators. These premiers are dictators. The Prime Minister's a dictator, but you just keep re-electing more because you never elect anyone who will give you codified rights on rules of governance and how to govern. They rule an absolute pure autocracy, pure colonial crown autocracy. It's not communism. It's much, much worse. You can say, how is that possible? Well, you have a legislature, you have a parliament, but the Prime Minister and the premiers don't have to accept any of that. They can use their lieutenant governors to either rubber stamp or not stamp any legislation. You can Google history search and you will find rogue premiers who tried to fight for the people. Lieutenant governors refused to sign off their bills. The great King Ralph Klein, they called him King Klein. He was for the people, a nice monarch, a nice monarch. That's what they are, constitutional monarchy. You elect a king. You do it provincially, territorially, and you do it federally for Prime Minister. They don't tell you this. You don't learn this in school. They've been able to keep this going since 1952. And it's right there. It's all laid out. Even Chief Justice Wagner starts rolling this out in his office as Governor General now for the first time ever. But you'll never see any politician or any party talk about this because they want that crown power, that full autocracy for themselves. They're legally allowed to lie to you. Kings have been doing this in history forever. They've been doing it forever. People talk about the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta didn't enshrine nothing. Kings decided what the people would have and what they wouldn't have. They can sign any document, codify it, but until you have codified rules of governance and how to govern, which Canada has nearly none, only Crown ultimate authority to hijack all forms of democracy. All your courts, everything. We just watched it in Alberta yesterday. We have to stop saying communism. We have to say crown colonial power of the constitutional monarchy. There is your autocratic dictatorship by none other than your elected politicians who are elected. Her Majesty. Premiers, Prime Minister. Two division of powers. One holds all your civil rights. The other holds all your charter rights. They decide how they are interpreted. year by year, day by day, depending on whatever that party wants to do, whatever foreign or special interests are attached to them. That's not you, the people. You can fight. Why are we fighting for codified rights? Again, I'll say it. Why is everybody saying you have to fight for your codified rights? Why? They should just be there. They should be administered by the government in absolute rules of governance and how to govern, which Canada has none. USA has a motherload of it. Limiting the president, limiting all governors, and many other branches of government. There's none of that in Canada. None. The provinces, sure, they've mandated acts against cities and municipalities, communities and counties. Lots of rules of governance there, but zero for themselves. They operate with zero rules of governance. And you wonder why our country's corrupted and broken. It's all there, folks. It's just that simple. And we can have these stages. We can keep people from talking about it, keeping Canadians dumbed down. But eventually you're going to end up down in the toilet. That's where we're going. We're already in the toilet internationally. We're one of the worst countries in the world. I proved that yesterday as I sat with the UNSC. There's no other Canadian doing that kind of work. Zero. Maxime Bernier's father did it. He was the last to do it through PQ out of Quebec, the Separatist Party. But other than that, I don't know anyone who's doing this work right now. I'm the only one. Only one. That's pretty sad. Where is Canada going to be in 5 years? How many of our rights are going to be rewritten in all kinds of new laws, which come out every day in every province, some more aggressive than others, and absolutely every day in Parliament they legislate away more and more of your rights. They put good feeling tags on their bills, but realistically it just steals more and more from the people. That's my video. Share, get it out. It's real, it's backed up, it's credible and viable. Canadians, we need to start talking in real terms, really addressing the real problems, which is absolutely the broken confederation, the constitutional monarchy system. It's broken, it's autocratic, nothing will ever change until a party comes forward. Why I'm making the CCP, Canadian Constitutionalist Party. Has to be done, people. This has to get out. Thanks, that's my video. Share, share, share. Don't be a fool. Don't be the bird with the head in the sand, because that's what Canadians are. Suckers born yesterday. That's what it is. And I don't mean to be mean. I'm telling you the truth. And no politician wants to address it because they want that crown for themselves. You've already lost the battle. Just vote somebody else in. Pick a party. They're all going to be corrupted by it. And money talks. And since there's no accountability, 99% of the time your politicians are going to betray you every time. Thanks. That's my video. We'll see you later.